Hi, my name is Nassali Chigundu, and I'm with Ivery Arie, the contemporary African woman. I'm from Uganda. I grew up in Los Angeles area, and who am I? I am awesome. I'm an empress. I'm out here just really just trying to be really awesome and creative and just serve people. That's really why I'm here, is to serve people. About 4 years ago, I lived in Nashville, and I was with some country music artists working there, and I got my first real hand experience with tour buses and with the tour bus life and how you're able to move around and go from city to city without having to go back home. And so instead of me having to fly back home, because I didn't have a home at that time, I just was mentally, I saw myself being able to stay in different cities for as long as I wanted to without having to move or without having to hurry up and get home to go back to work to pay rent. And so I was like, after I leave Nashville, I'm not going to pay rent. I'm going to figure out my life, and I'm just going to have an RV and live this bomb life. And so that's what I've been doing. I bring me. And that's, yeah. So if they catch Africanness or if they catch royalness or whatever-ness, blackness, like I just bring me. And so my day-to-day, like today, last night there was an event that I was help coordinating a fashion show. And so I did that. That lasted until like 2 a.m. And so now we're doing this interview today, right now. And then I'm not being a model today, except for this moment, if that was one. I'm going to go photograph a friend and work on her book, just because I do photography as well. And so I'm going to do that. And then after that, I'm going to go be free at the drum circle. And yay. I use myself as a muse, or I could visually capture muses, or I could help curate content, or I can, I'm a Robin to a Batman if need be, in terms of my client work and assisting and being a right hand to somebody who's really trying to get some things done or handle their craft a certain type of way. And storytelling. I like telling stories. I appreciate the compliment. I did not always feel, I always felt beautiful, but then it was confusing when you feel so beautiful, but then people don't act like you are. Like when you're a child growing up out here, being the darkest one in the class, being taller, my physique is a certain type of way. So like I would go home and feel beautiful in my head, in my mirror, but then I would be contradicted by the words and by bullies. I got bullied as a kid, African booty scratcher. I was all of these things. And so my take on beauty is just kind of like, I wish we were able to just grab a hold of that, those feelings that other people give us. If we really had like a concept of how they really don't make any sense and how they're just trying to like bring us down, I would have felt a lot more beautiful a lot earlier. But I'm glad that I felt those ways. That way I could feel the way I feel now. And I can also encourage other women when I see that maybe they're not feeling their best selves or putting their best foot forward. I know how to bring that out, just because I too was like picked on and I didn't feel so beautiful. But I feel bomb now. It would have been, but then I know I still would have been different. Just different, because even the last time I was there, they just were like, you're just shiny. Like you can't blend in, don't try, But yeah, it would have been different because I still want more, and I still want something that's not conventionally seen or known about. Like me having no hair. Most women in Africa, they go for their primary school with no hair, but then when they get into like high school, then they grow their hair, so there's no reason to not have any hair. So when I show up, grown, and I still want a Shaolin, they call it, then it's like, why? Like, why don't you grow your hair? Sometimes I say, oh, now you think I'm beautiful. But that's how I feel. Just because it's like, I'm a trend now. Just to be curvy, to be bomb. Like, now our dark skin is allowed. Like me having a curvy body is allowed to be in a bathing suit now. It's okay. They're even making it for us, so we're allowed to wear them. Because before, we were having to create bathing suits or create like a little outfit because they weren't producing any for us. But now we're allowed to have curves. We're allowed to be dark. and darker, and that's how I feel. I feel like it's cool. But it's just kind of like, okay. I feel like it's here to stay, but it's like it's trending, I guess. It's not like a fad. Now we're trending, and so yeah, we're here, and especially because now we've all accepted it. Like once white people accept it, and then now African people, black people are accepting it. Now it's like, okay, so we're all on the same page. So if we as black people, black women, go backwards and then start degrading our bodies, start acting like our dark skin isn't bomb, then it allows them to just revert back to where they were before in terms of how they were treating us and how they saw us and perceived us. Now when we walk into the room, they're like, oh yes, queen, but before it was just like, all right, cool, like you're dark skinned. My mom, my auntie, my mom worked all the time. She was always working, and she's really strong and very hospitable. I get all my hospitality side, all my servitude. I get that from my mom. And all the other aunties that were either blood aunties or aunties because you were my auntie now. All the African women in my life. Just because it's like, you show up at the house, they're in the kitchen, they're cooking, they're cleaning, they're whooping. Women work hard. They're working all the time. Men usually did the work behind the scenes, like perhaps they were financing situations, but women physically, I always see them. My mom and my aunties were always the ones arranging everything, and so that gives me my my drive. I met another woman. She's East African too, and she lived in RV. That was awesome. She lives close by. I was inspired by her to know that somebody else we were on the same page, and she wasn't afraid to be different, and that's always inspirational. You guys handling your business, this whole woman team, that's inspirational. Just because of the fact that when we come together, we are able to do things productively, proactively, with passion and purpose. Like, it's just bomb. I forgot her name. I can look up on my phone. There's a woman who's the ambassador of Africa. She's a doctor. I'll look up her name. I'll give it to you guys. But I was just reading some of her story, and apparently she's part of like a Wakanda One project and helping different countries that have 1 million people, and she's a whole ambassador of all of Africa. I believe that the African woman in Africa is tapped in, but in order to actually know your own value, sometimes it's good to put yourself amongst other people, so then you could see how you are and how different you are and where you want to be, because then we could be more sure of ourselves that way. Like, women there sometimes are very submissive, which is great. However, there's an edge that we can have knowing the whole diaspora, knowing how other women like us are, knowing that we can be that strong, we could be a leader, we can create things, build things, and do whatever we really want to do without the whole traditional values are very important in Uganda. I feel like African women, we fall into like, we want to be, can't really be too like but we have to be. It means being myself in 2019 and every other year, being indigenously myself with modern twist, like Wakanda in a Tesla, like, just being me. Like, I live in an RV. It's really bomb. This is my life. I'm here in the States. Some people in Africa live in places that have more electricity than I have right now today. But I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't have anything that I need. I have everything that I need. And being able just to shine that light, just to show them that we Africans we look like this too. Like, we're surfing, we're flying, we're living in RVs, we're traveling, we're fixing our own cars. Like, we African women do everything, and we can do everything. And so that's what it means to me. And I really want to encourage other African women in Uganda specifically, but every other one, just to know that, like, you don't have to look like this sweet girl that wears the dress and these are pants. Black. I feel like the future looks great. Future looks great. It really does. As long as we're still on the same page, it's still going to be hard. You know, there are going to be trying times and trying moments, but I can only speak about the future that I see for me and mine and, you know, my friends and my family. I see, like, for me, in my future, I see a television show, movies, my clients doing awesome work, me being able to assist them, catapulting them to their higher realms of just creativity and things of that nature. I see Sheila going on tour physically, like we're going to be traveling all over the United States to begin with, and then we're going to take this to Africa. All white everything. I see that. I see beautiful communities with just activities, like more people like us being around. Like whenever I'm in groups like this, I feel like, dang, I wish I had these kind of friends in high school. You know, like, dang, we're like older, but like the generation that is in high school, they need to have friends like this. Like we need to be able to encourage the youth and the people who are younger or who are coming behind us to know that, okay, you guys could do this like now. Like it's okay to do whatever you want to do, however you want to be. You could do that like right now. So the future looks great. I think the future looks great. I'm not sure about like, you know, politically or just things of that nature. I'm not, you know, I'm not looking at that because that stuff is always going to be around and it's always going to be some form of a corruption or just some, you know, the haves and the have-nots. But as long as I'm productively like changing myself to be a better, awesome person, then everybody else around me is only going to feel the Nass effect that way. And then boom.